Newly released autopsy results revealing the cause of death of Riley Strain. He was the University of Missouri student who was found dead in Nashville after a night of heavy drinking. The autopsy finding his cause of death due to both drowning and alcohol poisoning. He disappeared on the night of March 8th. This is some surveillance video. He was in Music City with his fraternity brothers. He was later found in the Cumberland River some 2 weeks later. An online petition is asking for the Tennessee legislature to pass Riley's Law. It's a bill that would make bars call a cab or ride share for anyone appearing intoxicated or disoriented. But attorney Dante Mills told NewsNation Prime the legislation would be nearly impossible to enforce.
I don't know legally, switching to my lawyer hat, if putting the onus on a bar to say anybody who leaves your establishment, you have a responsibility to get them home. How can you enforce that? There are some things that are in place that put some pressure on bars not to serve intoxicated people, but to take that a step further and require them to make sure that someone gets home. If they're intoxicated, I just don't know if that's a burden that we can sustain for these restaurants. How can you continue to operate your business if you're going to be sued if something happens?
All right, so let's talk about it. I'd like to welcome in Nashville City Council member, Councilman Jacob Coopin. Jacob, thank you so much for being with us. I do want to talk about whether or not it would be enforceable, but first, you have called for a downtown Nashville safety overhaul. Before we get into the specifics, just talk about the status of that proposed overhaul.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. So we have made quite a bit of progress since we've last spoken about this. I actually heard just last night a story of an officer who saw someone intoxicated walking near the river and cited what happened to Riley to this individual to say, hey, I'm going to get you home safe tonight. We're not going to let that happen again. So we've seen changes across the board, but we also have worked on fencing and security near the riverfront, right? So there's an area that we're working on funding for some fencing and security barriers. And then additionally, working on other partnerships. There's an organization called Red Frogs that we had out at CMA Fest in a pilot capacity. They charged over 1,800 cell phones and they served 33,000 cups of water. So we're really making efforts to make sure that people that come here either to visit or live here are safe across the board in their experience.
Absolutely, and certainly nothing wrong with that. So Councilman, there's this idea, this Riley's Act, which would, put the onus on bars to call a ride share. In your opinion, we heard from Dante Mills just moments ago, but do you think this would be enforceable?
I think it's a challenge. I think the sentiment's great, right? We want to make sure people get home safe. We want to make sure that they find their way home. I think it's hard to mandate a bar to do that because, again, there's so many nuances to situations. And is someone intoxicated enough where they need that? And that's where I've worked with the bar owners and with MNPD and with Red Frogs and other organizations to figure out what partnerships can we bring to get to that result. So while I'm not sure that we can mandate a bar put someone in an Uber, I think we can take steps to increase that safety, increase that partnership, and keep people safe. And again, we just had our CMA Fest. We had over 100,000 people coming in every single day, and we're hearing feedback on that it was a very safe weekend and great experience for people.
Absolutely, yeah. And we love, we want people to stay safe. So let's talk about these new autopsy results. It shows that, Riley's blood alcohol content was nearly 3 times the legal limit. He also had Delta-9 THC in his system. And as we know, the official cause of death ruled intoxication and drowning. We know the bar that he was kicked out of says he was actually only served 1 drink along with 2 glasses of water. So knowing all of that, Councilman, does that change the approach to this, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, silver lining that there wasn't a drugging or potentially a sign of other crime, but still, again, a horrific accident and very, very sad situation. And I think it speaks to, again, the need to let people know when you come to Nashville, have a good time, let loose, have fun, but be safe and take care of yourself and take care of each other. Our Convention Visitors Corporation has put forward a program called Push Pause Nashville, reminding people when they come here, take care of your friends, check in on each other, make sure that if you're drinking, you keep that in a level that is safe. Again, a horrific and sad accident and something that we are all coming together to try to make sure that never happens again.
Absolutely. And I know you said, so many of the bars are cooperating. People want people, young people especially, to stay safe. Last question. Have you had a chance to speak to Riley's family about their thoughts, now that the autopsy results have come in? And obviously, such a horrible, horrible time for them.
Yeah, no, I continue to send my thoughts and prayers out to them. Haven't connected with them recently on this, but again, I still think about that. Our courthouse, where our council legislative chambers are right in the area where Riley did disappear and sadly perished. And so I do think about him often, and it weighs on my heart as I start to legislate and work on ways to make sure that his death wasn't in vain, and that it has have a lasting impact. And I appreciate the people that have signed the petition and have stayed in the Facebook groups and talking about it and sharing photos and sharing how Riley's life and death have impacted us all.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.